In the next 3 videos in the retail rundown, we are going to be talking about line reviews. This first video is all an introduction of what is a line review, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a golden nugget to take with you. The next 2 are going to be about the process, and the third one's going to be about timing. So stick with us. So let's dive in. What is a line review? What are we talking about? This whole video is going to be an experiment. You're going to try and change your mind and your perspective. We've talked about the buyer. Now we're going to shift your focus a little bit. I think most entrepreneurs and most people, when they think of getting into retail, are thinking about getting in front of a buyer, right? And getting that pitch done so that they can say yes. The line review is the process a buyer does to get their shelf in order. So if you think about the shelf and setting a shelf, this is when new vendors, old vendors all come together. They take a look at everything that's on the shelf currently. Then they look at all the new items. They look at all the trends and they're making their decisions. At the end of that, they will actually build a modular and they will let suppliers know what's on and what's off of it. Right. So that is the line review process, right? We're going to get into details on the second episode of what is every individual step. But overall, a line review is the process that a buyer uses to put their modular together. Now, here's where I want to take a little bit of the golden nugget that I talked about and try and change your mind. And I've got a real live example of here. So let's see if we can accomplish this. A lot of times when entrepreneurs reach out to buyers, they are trying to sell an item, right? That means that if they have an email, it's a really long email and it's got a bunch of details and it's got all of this information and it's got your one pager attached to it. And it's just full. You're trying to sell your product to the buyer. I want you to stop thinking about it that way. We've got one goal with the buyer, and that's simply to get into the line review, right? So as opposed to trying to sell your product, all you're trying to do is get into the line review. This is a secret. Get out a piece of paper. This is one of the things that I've done for years that changes how I approach things. I've been doing it for a long time to where your head might be at. Buyers are very, very busy people, right? So the last thing they want is this huge email from somebody they've never known trying to sell them something. Most of the most successful emails that I've ever written don't have anything to do with that. I'm simply asking a question. When is your line review and how can I gain authorization to get into it? It's that simple. It's so simple, a matter of fact, that I actually have printed out an actual email correspondence with a buyer. This is real life. It's got dates on it and everything. I'm not going to include the buyer's name because that would be horrible. But this is the very first buyer or the very first email that I sent on July 30th. Hi, buyer. I'm not going to put her name on here. I hope you're well. KidSole is the #1 selling kid shoe insert heel cup and gel sock company online. Our goal is simple: to keep kids moving confidently and pain-free. Designed with special non-slip gel, these insoles ensure a secure fit inside the shoe, prevent slipping, and enhance comfort during playtime. Perfect for active kids who need reliable support every step of the way, right? I've attached a quick intro, and please check us online. Now, here's the only ask. This is very short, by the way. It's just this one paragraph. We would love the opportunity to introduce our team to you and our products. Can you please let us know what you need from us to gain entry into your line review and when that timing would be? We can also drop off samples to the layout center at your request. That's it. Didn't get into a lot of the details, just got into who we are very briefly. When's your line review? So I'm not trying to sell the product. I'm just trying to understand when it is. And I'm talking in a language that the buyer's used to. So buyers are busy. If you don't get them during the time that they're buying, they're doing other things. They're not in that buying mode. They'll brush you off. It's simple. You would do the exact same thing. That was sent July 30th. The reply I got back from the buyer was nothing. I didn't get anything back from the buyer, plain and simple. No reply. So on August 13th, this is the one that I think did it. Hello, buyer. Following up to see what information or samples you need from us to gain entry into your 2025 line review. That's it. That's all I did. That was very simple. I'm speaking in the language they're used to. I've got one ask, one request, not a big deal. And then August 14th, hi, Brian, please send samples to the layout center for my review. We got a reply from the buyer, right? That is 80% of the work. And it's by keeping it very simple and not focusing on the product. It's focusing on their process. Their process. It means that you understand they have a process. You want to get into that process. That's all you're asking for is the opportunity and what you need from us. Now, on September 4th, after we delivered all the product, we sent, hey, just checking to see if you had an opportunity to go over to the layout center and see our samples, what we dropped off. I made sure that I talked about here's the product that we actually dropped off and what's important to us. And then I followed it up with, please let me know if you need anything else from us. When is your line review and mod update? Once again, I'm not trying to sell. I'm not, does this item look good? What do you need? Do you want us to send 1 million cases? It's not about that. I simply am asking to get into the line review. That's it. And of course, my reply was nothing. You guessed it. I got 0 back from that. So then on September 17th, I said, hello, buyer. Following up to see if I had a chance to make it to the layout center and look at the samples. We would love the opportunity to introduce our team, review product, and talk about the momentum that we have going on in the market. Appreciate the time. Very simple. I know a lot of times we have so much information that we're trying to get across to these buyers, but they are busy. They are getting hit from every direction. The easier you can make it for them, the better. Now, remember, we are 2 months into this because it's September 18th. She said, thank you for following up. I see KidSole is available on Walmart Marketplace. Is that through your brand or other sellers? Thank you. One simple question. But we are talking. We are having communication with the buyer. And then on September 18th, notice the exact same day. This is part of when they're working, you got to be ready. You got to be available. The second the buyer said something, that day we reply, right? As soon as we humanly possibly didn't wait a week. We didn't have conversations. There's part of this is when they're working, it comes in spurts. That buyer sitting at the desk trying to get some things done, they shoot off an email and it's to you, reply to it. Hopefully they're still going to be sitting at their desk and you can have a conversation back and forth, right? That's the whole purpose of this, creating dialogue with a buyer. So September 18th, the short answer is we are selling through your brand currently. And I gave her the information that she requested. Once again, I said, would love to meet either by Zoom or in person to give you our full story if you're available. Right now, I'm starting to ask for a meeting. We've had conversations. I really am just trying to find out the line review, right? Now, September 18th, she sends a pretty decent email. Would really like to see your brand grow on Walmart Marketplace, a successful marketplace presence with optimal content quality and good way to gain traction for future store presence. I'm happy to arrange a meeting with our marketplace team. Now she's saying, hey, online is important to me. We need to spend some time there. So why don't you work with this team? I'm giving you resources. So we absolutely, she's like, let me know if that's something that you're interested. September 19th, we're still having this conversation. If you arrange a meeting to the marketplace team, that would be great. We appreciate the support. Just to manage some expectations on our end, when would be a good time to reach back out to you to share progress online and line review timing? Is there anything else on our end that we should be working on to better position ourselves in the future? Thanks. Now we're having the conversations, but we are going to draw a line. We are going to say, hey, this is great, but how do you want us to communicate? How do you want us to keep this conversation going? And then she sent on September 19th, this is all within a 2-day span, please send me quarterly updates. Now we have our marching orders. Now we know what we're supposed to do. She made it very specific. She gave us team members. We went out. We worked our butts off to make sure that we were doing everything. December 13th, we are now 5 months into this conversation with the buyer. We sent her a full line review. We had sales. We had increase, 68% increase. We had tons of information for her. So now December 13th, we are now 5 months into this, and we send a full recap right? A quarterly update to her to say, hey, this is how things are going. We talked about high-level results, sales, score listing going from 30 to 90, the work that we had been accomplishing, full product listing highlights, fulfillment center integration, advertising out, and we did the whole review. And on December 14th, she said, Brian, thank you for this recap. I'm excited for your success and happy to hear of your partnership with the 3 people that we were working with on our team, and said, I look forward to connecting in March. Still nothing, right? Still nothing. Now, on March 31st, 8 months into this conversation, not trying to sell the product necessarily, just trying to get into a line review. We sent over another full review, same thing, everything we were working on. And of course, she said nothing because she was probably busy. That stuff happens. So on April 15th, I sent this message to her. I said, dear buyer, actually, I said hi. With Summerfest approaching, I wanted to reach out and ask if we've earned a spot in your upcoming line review. We've made great progress with your team and are currently reworking our packaging specifically for retail. We've also built strong momentum through clinicians and online, including Walmart.com, and we're excited to share those updates with you and your team. Could you please let us know when the line review is and what you need from us to secure a spot to present? Thank you again for your time and continued support. April 16th, the very next day, she said, Brian, I appreciate your diligence and commitment to the business with Walmart. I would like to meet with you for a line review in June. Please select a date between June 12th and 20th, and I will send a planner. Full line review documents and details to follow. In the meantime, please complete the new item forms attached for any items that you will be presenting for my in-store consideration. We sent over dates, and then on April 16th, she said, all set. We got into the line review. Think about that. The line review was in June. It took us 11 months from first contact to get into the line review. And in that entire conversation, we weren't talking about when are you going to take a product? How much will you be? We weren't talking about pricing. We weren't talking about different options. We weren't talking about all the things that you should be talking about, because that is what the line review is for. When we sat down at that line review, that's when we started talking about those details, right? So this is what I want you to start thinking about. This is why it's important to put yourself in a buyer's shoes, understanding the buyer. Now, if you understand the buyer, this line review process is the way that they determine what goes on the shelf. So we need to start talking to the buyer in a way that makes sense for them, right? When is your line review? What do you need from me to get into your line review? It's a very simple question. We're not talking about how many units I've sold. We're not talking about how many likes I've gotten, stars, or this, that. What we're talking about is how do I get into? You tell me the information that you need from me right now just to get that meeting booked. So hope this was good. I hope that this kind of puts some nuggets in, but it's a time consuming sometimes. Sometimes you call and they're like, my line review's next week. Just get me this new item form. Let me take a look at your thing and I'll let you know if I want to see you or not, right? Some of it is a timing thing. You're just on time or off time. Trust me, sometimes I know 11 months seems like a long time. Boy, it gave us a lot of good data points, good connection points, ways to talk with people on the team, get their support behind us. It's important. The process is important. You don't move battleships and aircraft carriers on a dime. It takes time. It takes precision. It takes effort. So let's start thinking a little bit differently. That line review, this process, we're going to talk about the process next. Then we're going to talk about timing, right? So let's start changing the mindset. We're not asking to put product in. We don't need, I'm going to need to pitch you. I need to do this. Simple questions in their world, in their jargon. I'd like to get in your line review. When is it? What do you need from me? Could be that simple. Well, I look forward to talking to you guys next time. So thanks for being with us.